Wednesday, April the 27th. Lake level is about 9:15 and a half. Water temperature, better watch out there. Water temperatures anywhere from 64 to sometimes late in the day you'll see as high as 70 degrees. Now, a lot of different things going on. One of the things that's getting to be real good is as that water gets closer to 70 degrees, some shad will start to spawn. And when that starts to happen, you'll see a lot better topwater bite. And you'll see these shad, that's the time of year that they start grouping around these deep boat docks. They'll actually lay their eggs on the styrofoam of the docks, on the standing timber. And, you know, where a person wants to be looking is a lot of times in the center of these creeks right now. It might be 30, 40, 50 foot deep. But if there's pole timber close by or there's some deep docks, you'll start seeing them shad schooling up. A number of different ways we're catching them. Sometimes when they're coming up on top, we can catch them on top water. And what seems to be working a little better for me is just either a bone or a white Rapala thunderstick or storm thunderstick. I'm catching some on a sexy dog, which looks just like a Zara spook. That's a Strike King bait. I like this bait a little bit better because it's got 3 hooks in it. A lot of times if you'll get them to come up and slap on the top water bait, but you won't hook up with them, then there's a couple different things you can do. You can take like a fish head. There's a lot of different kinds out there. This is the Swimming Hornet. Pig Sticker makes one. I believe Jewel makes one called a Squirrel Head. And on bait caster, I'm usually throwing a 1/2 ounce, and I'll use anything like a Super Fluke Junior. Or this one here, I've got a 3.8 Kitech on it, swim bait on the back. And what you want to do is cast this out around where you see them schools of shad or them fish breaking every once in a while. And just count it down about 4 or 5 and just a slow roll, a slow retrieve, you know, back to the boat like you're slow rolling a spinnerbait. You can also throw it down the sides of these deep docks, especially if there's any bait active. It seems to be working best in the morning. But with the clouds coming in and out, and even not necessarily with the clouds, I mean, those fish will push them shad throughout the day, whether you got cloud cover or not. Especially with them shad moving around, you know, quite a bit like they are. And it seems to be working for me better like in the White River from, say, Baxter up towards Shell Knob, in the mid-James. I haven't seen too much of it from Kimberling City down towards the dam. The water is still pretty dirty down there. You know, it's got a lot of moss floating around. Looks like the lake is still turning over. It's been doing that for, oh goodness, 2 or 3 weeks. But the White River from Baxter up is pretty well normal. I was up the Upper James today. All that's normal watercolor. And probably, a couple of the baits that are still catching the best numbers of fish is a Ned rig and a grub. And on the grub, I'm throwing a few different ones. You can throw a watermelon red. This is a smoke with red chompers, 5-inch smoke with red flake. This is a 2.8 Kitech. Any kind of shad pattern or color will work. And decide, depending on how much wind or how deep I'm fishing it, will determine the weight size of the head. For the most part, I'm using a 3/16. That works real good, anywhere from 4 feet out to about 15 foot. But a lot of times, if I'm out there deep where they're chasing them shad, I might put on a 1/4 ounce if I want to get down a little bit deeper. And also, a good place to throw these topwater baits is on these main lake and secondary points where there's standing timber. Some of these fish that are getting done spawning are starting to move back out to them secondary points and feed on the shad and also on the bottom. My bottom bite's still not real strong. And a lot of the same places we've been fishing the Ned rig on these flat gravel pockets is still working. Without a doubt, the Ned rig and the grub and little swim baits catching a number of fish. Now, as far as on the Ned rig, either a green pumpkin or a Bama craw been working good. I've been throwing anywhere from an 1/8 ounce to a 1/4 ounce head. If you like to stay in contact with the bottom, throw the 1/4 ounce head, but you'll find that'll get stuck a little bit more. Now, there's still, a bite going on up in the Kings River around some laydowns and any kind of wood debris. The thing that's still kind of the mystery to a lot of us is we still haven't found the big groups of Kentuckys, the big footballs. We'll catch an occasional one or two out off of some of these main lake and secondary points, and a lot of them don't look like they've spawned yet. I mean, they're just plumb full, look like they're ready to explode. But normally by this time, we found big groups of them in big numbers, so that's still kind of a mystery as far as where the majority of the Kentuckys are. Pretty much throughout the lake, it seems like it's still predominantly smallmouth. You're catching a few largemouth mixed in, but from one end of the lake to the next, there's more smallmouth up on this gravel. The largemouths I'm finding are on these steeper, ledgier banks. Some are on the main river channels by cuts, like just fishing the points of these little bluff cuts. The cut itself may only be 100 feet wide and go back in 2 or 3 boat lengths, but they seem to be on the points and in them little pockets there. Now, I'm not getting as many bites back and stuff like that, but that's where the better largemouth are coming from. And I've been catching those. There's several different things you can throw. You can probably throw a wacky rig Cinco. I've been throwing a 3/8 ounce jig with a critic raw. You could probably throw anywhere up to a 1/2 ounce. You could throw a shaky head. Just a number of different baits you can throw on them little rock ledges going in there. Kind of whatever you've got the most confidence in. As far as the colors, a lot of green pumpkin, watermelon candy, something that looks like a crawdad. It wouldn't hurt to put a little orange on the pinches of the craw, because the crawdads still have a lot of orange and stuff in them right now. Still catching some fish on tube baits as well. Either watermelon red or green pumpkin. You can fish these the same place you're fishing the Ned rig or the grub, and even you could fish these in them same bluff pockets as well. So I think there's still a ton of fish left to spawn, but the good thing is some of them are getting done, and they're getting back out on some of these main lake points anywhere from 12 to 18 foot, and they're starting to feed up a little bit better on the bottom than they had in the past. So I'm looking forward to the next few days. We've got a chance of rain, some clouds coming in. So I'm going to head up to the White River and hopefully get into some topwater action. Till next week, good luck, good fishing.